So first things first, Holman, I wanted to show you my awesome scar. Look at that, right there on my arm. Look at that. Oh.
So you and my dad are arm buddies.
Is that pretty gross, isn't it?
No. Well, you want to see gross?
No, I don't. So I'm at the dermatologist, and he's like, you need to come back because something we found on you's got some cancer. And I'm like, okay, so it's like basal cell or whatever. It's in the middle of my forearm on my right arm. And I go to the dermatologist. Before you show me that, let me tell you the freaking story. Oh, that's gross.
That's my dad. So my dad goes...
That's gross.
You guys have matching arms.
Yeah, we sure do.
And he sends me pictures whenever he gets it cut off and goes, check this out. And I don't know, my mom said something about it, and I go, yeah, he sent me the picture. She's like, he did? I'm like, yeah, they're right here. She's like, no, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So I've got pictures of my dad with like holes in his head,
holes
in his nose.
I don't want to see any of that stuff. No, that's awful. So I'm sitting there, and it's a pretty cool office in this surgery center, whatever, and they put on some music. She's got Coldplay going. Doctor's to my right. He's working on my arm, shooting it up. And then I've got the nurse to my left. I'm talking to the nurse. We're talking about like U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Having a conversation. And then I feel the doctor on my right kind of tugging on my arm. So I think it's numb. I don't know what he's doing, but he's tugging. So I know he's like, well, I'm not going to look. But then I go, I need to go, I'll look. So I look over and I'm thinking.
And you puked in your open wound.
No. So then I'm thinking to myself, the spot of cancer was like the size of a mole. It was like smaller than a pencil eraser. So I think, okay, he's just digging it out with some like spoon-like thing. I look over and my arm is wide open, 3 inches in each direction. And it's splayed open. I look down, I can see like the fat and muscle. And I'm like, oh, and I just look away. I was like, that's gross.
Did they put oxygen mask on your face or anything?
No, I didn't get queasy, but I have been queasy in doctor's offices before. So anyway, here are my awesome stitches. And I'm supposed to be wearing a bandage right now, but it doesn't stick with all my hair. So like, I'm just like, I just
Wouldn't
got
it be
that,
awful if you put a bandage on and then you rip the bandage off and it ripped your stitches open too with your arm hair?
Well, I got to go back. You can see the blue stitches poking out right here. I got to go back in a couple days and get this removed. So anyway, that's get some scars because chicks dig scars.
All right, just remember when they ask you what happened, just say you should see the other guy.
Yeah,
it's always the answer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you caught that early enough. And,
I'm still alive.
Well,
another lightning update. I bought 4 bollards for the lightning estate. I will be placing 4 stainless steel bollards in the the driveway.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
Did Rich respond?
Rich will be down in a week to install them. I'm not even joking.
Wow.
Hold Away Construction will be down in about a week and a half to install 4 bollards. And he's coming down in a borrowed truck with a coring drill.
Oh,
so that'll be fun.
Rich is the man. All right. Well, I'm glad that he's coming to rescue you. I have a funny story.
Sure.
So you know the world's tallest thermometer in Baker?
Yeah, next to the Bun Boy.
And every time I drive by, I always take a picture and I say, still working, because for, I don't know, like a decade, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then years ago, they refurbished it. So then I say...
And by the way, for you in other parts of the country, it literally is the world's tallest thermometer. It's kind of cheesy.
It's outside... not cheesy. Shut up.
Cheesy.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's outside Death Valley. No, it's a giant thermometer on the side of the 15.
But it's digital. It's not a real thermometer with mercury in it.
Oh, yeah, because you're going to have 4,000 gallons of mercury.
I'm just saying, it's not a real thermometer. It's just LEDs in the shape of a thermometer.
All right. Would you stop?
Sure, go ahead.
Anyway, I used to hashtag still broken all the time until one day they fixed it. And I was like, whoa, they fixed it. So then I started hashtagging
still working.
Still working. And so somebody, might be my friend Chris, somebody forwarded me this thing online where somebody in like one of the Facebook groups who does desert exploring and stuff brings up, I stopped at the gift shop, which, by the way, is always closed when I go.
I didn't even know they had a gift shop.
And they found...
The gift shop of the Bun Boy?
No, the gift shop of the world's tallest thermometer. I'm not talking about the Bun Boy.
Okay. But aren't they connected? Isn't it the same thing? They're not?
No.
Oh.
The Bun Boy ceases to exist. It hasn't existed in a long time.
I didn't know that.
The thermometer, on the other hand, does. Anyway, getting back to my story, Lightning, they have this little wooden plaque that has one of the original light bulbs on it, and it was like $25, $30 at the gift shop. And it has a little memorial plaque thing that says, world's tallest thermometer. So it's from pre-renovation. I'm thinking, well, that's kind of cool.
Sure, that is cool.
So I've passed there 4 times since I saw that. Each time the gift shop's been closed. So I'm like, damn it. So I don't know, on a whim, went online, and it's on their website. So I ordered it. And then the lady emails me back, and she goes, Sean, we're traveling right now. We won't be back till August. If you don't mind, we can make it. My husband and I make these. And if you don't mind waiting, we'll include both a red and white original light bulb for you. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'm good with it. And I go, by the way, I'm the guy that always tags on social you guys with still working. She's like, oh my God, thank you for the support. Yeah, we'll have this, make this for you as soon as we get it. So I thought that was cool.
That is kind of cool.
Meanwhile, on our desk right now is
you like that, do you?
Talking about LEDs. This has got to be the cheapest piece of plastic. It's a box.
So this is the device I was talking about a couple weeks back, if you're listening, on ways to secure the Lightning estate from would-be thieves trying to steal my truck. Now, I told you I got the IR sensor, so when you walk into my driveway, you break the light like on a garage door.
You back up to the river, and people are just going to come in from the back now.
They can't. You can't get in that way. Anyway, you go in that way, and in my house...
By river, I mean a big, giant concrete
just a gully.
Gulch that has homeless people walking around in it.
Mine doesn't, but there a couple blocks over, there are some homeless living in it. So it is a driveway every time you walk in, right? But that's not this box. This box, on the top, you'll see it's got a photovoltaic sensor on the top, right?
No, it's a solar panel for the battery.
Solar panel, that's photovoltaic. That's what it's called.
Okay, that's but that's just to charge the battery.
Yes, it's battery charging, correct. So it can work out. I don't need to plug it in.
All right,
and on the front, it's got two speakers. Oh, there it is. You turned it on. Got a couple buttons on the face and a remote control, which I didn't bring. Now, so... Oh, jeez, that's loud.
All right. We got gunshots and dogs.
Yep.
Halloween. Okay, so that'll be what you do on Halloween.
So proximity sensing.
A gong?
I guess so. It's Chinese. Everything's written in Chinese. All the instructions. Fireworks.
Missiles?
Fireworks.
There's like missiles hitting. A tiger?
I don't know. Red alert.
Are we sinking under the ocean?
I don't know.
Your neighbors must love you.
That one could do it. The police siren. The foghorn.
But by the way, the quality of the speaker is horrible.
Yeah, it's every bit as tinny in real life as it is that you're hearing now.
I cease to be impressed.
It's awful, but it is loud. And we can record audio if you'd like. So that's that box cost me $40.
You paid $40 for this?
Yeah, $40 for that thing.
I'd rather have the world's tallest thermometer original light bulb.
Well, this could maybe scare someone away. Maybe. You don't think so?
All right, well, we've got quite the show for you.
I can tell you that I'm very excited about Miles Bell. Miles is son of Dave Bell, and Dave owns Dave's Auto Center up there in Centerville, Utah.
You mean Dave's Auto Center on YouTube?
Yes.
Do they actually have a real shop?
Massive shop.
And Miles oversees a bunch of engine builds.
He builds the engines, so we're going to talk to him about all things engine and mechanics.
All right, so before we get to that, we have to thank the presenting sponsor of the Truck Show podcast, and that is our friends over at Nissan. So if you are in the market for a new truck and you want something that's rugged, dependable, reliable, and chock full of features and value, you're not going to find a better truck than the Nissan Frontier. So head on down to your local dealership where you can check out the Nissan Frontier in person. You can see the Utilitrack rails and the zero-gravity seats and the Fender audio system, and the Nissan Frontier comes standard with one engine. That's the 310 horsepower, 3.8-liter V6 backed by Nissan's 9-speed automatic transmission. And if you want to know more about how to outfit the Frontier for your needs, head over to nissanusa.com where you use the build and price tool and also connect with a local dealership.
Holman, I'm over here on Facebook on the 2020 to 2024 GMC AT4 and AT4X Sierra HD 2500 and 3500 owners group. Jason Smith writes, I know there are a lot of guys running the Derringer and or iDash, but is anyone running the full bundle? Is it worth it? Just looking for reliable, fun power with no side effects. And he's got a picture here of the Power Pack bundle for the 20 to 23 Duramax 6.6 liter. It's got ram air intake, Monster exhaust, new Monster Ram, Derringer tuner, iDash stealth pod, boost tubes, and ram air diff cover. So below that are the comments.
Okay.
Corey White is the first one to comment. He says, I've got the full kit. Makes it what it should have been from the factory. Corey Rant says, I did the full kit. It's badass. Banks is the real deal. Russell Baker chimes in, says, got the tuner, the intake, pedal monster, and exhaust. Huge difference. According to the iDash, I'm making 1,019 foot-pound of torque, 556 horsepower. So look, if you've got a 20 to 23 Duramax, head over to bankspower.com, type in your year, make, and model, and find the Power Pack bundle that'll put a smile on your face.
Okay, so do you have anything for a 24 version of that truck?
Why, do you know someone?
My buddy Todd just bought a completely loaded full tilt GMC AT4X AV Edition HD Sierra.
Damn,
And
six figures.
He already hit me up. He's like, hey, do you know anybody can give me a deal on iDash?
Yeah.
So he'll be reaching into your DMs.
So iDash and iDash Stealth Pod, got them on. You just hit up hit me for it.
Yeah,
You got that?
give me your info.
Okay, we also have the Ram Air rear differential cover. We've got high flow boost tubes. We've got a couple other things for the 24. We're still waiting on the exhaust, and the intake should be out soon. And the new Derringer tuner drops in the end of summer, somewhere around there.
All right.
But for the electronics, let's start lacing them up with the iDash.
Yeah.
So head to bankspower.com to get yours.
Hey, did you know that AMSOIL is one of the few independently owned oil companies right here in America?
Yes, I actually did know that, yes.
Okay. Did you know that Did you know they make a full line of synthetic lubricants and also a ton of car care and detailing supplies?
I mean, you know that I know this, right?
Well, then why don't
Are you just asking
why don't you tell me?
Are you asking this stuff rhetorically? What are you doing here?
Hey, by the way, I use the AMSOIL glass cleaner.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that stuff's awesome.
You thought it was totally BS.
No, I didn't. I just don't trust
But
anything
you-
you say.
but you-
No, I'm like Ronald Reagan over here. It's trust, but verify.
Okay,
and I'm
that's
just
fine.
telling you, I have used the glass.
Did it streak?
No.
See?
It's awesome.
You've used aerosol glass cleaner before, and you're like, this blows.
Yeah.
Theirs doesn't. I don't know what. It's got some magic in it. I don't
Whatever
know.
that magic is.
Right.
And of course, they've got a full line of motor oils for gas, diesel, European, high mileage, hybrid, racing, high zinc for those old cars, natural gas, 2-stroke, 4-stroke. I mean, everything you can think of. If you choose AMSOIL, you're also getting guaranteed performance because AMSOIL builds all of their synthetics with an extra measure of protection. While some oil companies guarantee their products only until you reach a specified mileage, AMSOIL does not place restrictions on warranty coverage based on total vehicle miles, and that's something unique to AMSOIL. And type in AMSOIL.com where you can get your truck, car, UTV, motorcycle, or anything else hooked up today. AMSOIL, the first in synthetics.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
All right, Holman, you got your ice cold Dr. Pepper chilling over there. I think you are ready to call Miles Bell up there at Dave's Auto Center in Centerville, Utah. You feeling good about it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, Lightning.
What's happening, Miles? Lightning and Holman, Truck Show Podcast here.
Well, what's going on?
Hey, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. Hey, before we can talk to you, Miles, we have a quick intro, so don't say anything. Hang tight.
It's the inside job, baby. Yes, it is. It's the inside job now. It's the inside job, baby. It's time for you to share. 1, 2, 2.
I guess we kind of know what Miles does, so he doesn't really have to share. We kind of know that he's up there at Dave's Auto Center running the engine and performance department. Miles.
Do all of our listeners know that?
No, I guess they do now.
You should probably tell them.
Well, I just did.
All right.
Miles, before we dig into this, I want to find out how you got started. So fans of your father's YouTube channel and fans of Dave's Auto Center up there in Centerville, I guess you guys are, 20, 30 minutes north of Salt Lake City, correct?
Yeah. I mean, not even that. About a 10 to 15-minute drive, even.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yeah,
okay.
very close.
Okay. So your father started Dave's Auto Center like 30 some odd years ago, and then you come along. And do you see yourself as a youth, like someday running the engine division, making high performance engines at Dave's, or are you thinking like, nah, my dad's that's whack what he does. I want to like do my own thing.
So I grew up right next to the shop, actually. We lived in a house literally right behind our shop. So I grew up learning how to ride my bike in the parking lot, working around shop with my dad, mopping floors, cleaning toilets, working on cars, doing all of that stuff growing up. But when I got old enough, he told me, he's like, you can't work here unless you go get other jobs. He said, I don't want you making this big decision unless you go out in the world. And then if you want to circle back here, do it. So I did a few other jobs for about 6 years before I circled back and ended up here full time, about 13 years full time with my dad.
So wait, Miles, you were a milkman and a pool guy, or no? What did you do in that time off?
So I did a variety of different things. I actually I served a religious mission for 2 years in the Philippines. Then I worked at a fast food restaurant right out of high school. I worked 2 years at a rehabilitation facility here locally for youth, and so I did that for 2 years. And then I did a few other odds and ends, outside sales, door-to-door sales, things like that, and ended up coming back here.
So it sounds like those extraneous jobs that you had in that off time was learning your people skills. Am I wrong? I mean, it sounds like from your mission to work in like a community-oriented job, that's how you became kind of the people pleaser, is my guess. What would you say?
There's no doubt that my dad is, and he'll still test some of the guys in the shop here and pulling an engine or something. He is a mechanic in his DNA, like in every breath that he has. He loves being a mechanic, and I love it as well, but I don't have that aptitude and talent like he was just naturally born with. I loved interacting with people, doing the sales side of it, the business side of it. That's really where I found my niche. In the automotive world, I just liked the business, sales, interaction side more so. So we ended up being a good team in that sense that he's the hands and a lot of the brain, and I'm more of the interacts with people kind of person.
So are you thinking about one day when your dad retires, how to hire somebody like your dad in there to fill that gap?
I don't think he has to, though.
I don't think that guy is ever going to quit and leave the shop. It's so much of his passion and who he is that until we throw dirt on his face, he's going to be here. Now we have, we actually have two shop foremen because we have two different buildings, and they've been with us. We have one guy that's been with us for 30 years. His name is Tyson, and then we have another guy named Jason that's been with us for 13 years, and they're fantastic. They're like family, and so they'll become the Dave brain, so to say, if hopefully a long time to come if he ever passes.
But I was just going to say, one of the things that you brought up was how your dad basically kicked you out of the family business in order to come back to the family business. And there's other family businesses in automotive that I know of where they're 3 generations. Grandpa's still there, dad's still there, now it's the kids who are there, and each one of the kids, he said, you have to go to college, you have to get another job, and then you have to apply for your job back here.
That blows.
Because they wanted to make sure that it was something they wanted to do.
It'd be so funny if they rejected him. So you failed.
That's not the degree we thought
you're not right for this job.
Yeah.
We've got another position opening.
But all the kids end up coming back to the job, but the part of it is like nobody got it handed to them on a silver platter. It was go out, do all the things you would do to go get a career, and if by then you feel like you want to be a part of the family business, then we'll talk. But you have to go out in the world before you come back. And I always think that's good because you get more well-rounded experience and stuff.
Yeah, I think this is really an industry. It's I'm speaking to two guys that obviously get the passion side of it. This is an industry that can be tough and some days just suck, as is in every job. But it's really an industry of passion, and so he wanted us to go out and see the world and try and do our own thing. And if this was the right fit, then he would welcome us back. But if it wasn't, and we thought a different path was better for us, he wanted us to do that. And so I have 5 brothers. I'm the middle child. I've got 2 older brothers and then 2 younger brothers. So out of that 5 rambunctious crew that we were, me and my older brother Joey are the only ones that decided that this is what we wanted.
Miles, lay out the land for us up there, both the property and then how the business is broken up.
So we're a 5-acre facility. We just expanded in last year in August of 23. So when my dad first started the business, it was out of a storage unit, and he got a piece of plywood and he spray painted Dave's Auto on it.
No way.
Yeah, they had me, him and my mom had me. Then a few months later, they ended up getting married. He finally convinced her. They went on just a weekend honeymoon. He's working at a Dodge dealership here locally. And when he got back from the honeymoon, he went into work Monday morning, and they sat him down first thing and they said, "You're fired."
Oh.
And so
dirty.
He didn't know what to, yeah, he didn't know what to do. And so, so he said, I'm tired of working for people. I have my own pace. I want to do my own thing. And so he had the, we'll keep it G-rated, but he had the gumption here to just go start his own place. And so he rented out a storage unit, spray painted Dave's Auto on it. And just because of his quality of work and his ability to figure things out that other shops couldn't, he grew from there. And so that was, we just hit 35 years this year.
And what was he known for at that point? Just pause for 1 second here, Miles. What was he known for? Was he doing diesel? Was he doing like turbo cars, naturally aspirated, American muscle? Like, was there one thing that, because usually, like we talked to a lady in Northern California, she's a diesel mechanic, and her thing was like Fords. Like, she really rose to notoriety in Northern California in her area for like Ford. Was it 6.0s or 7.3s? Do you remember, Holman? One of the two.
6.0s.
Yeah. Okay. Was there something like that for your dad?
Mm-hmm. So he actually started the business as an import shop. So he was working on Volkswagens. That was really his big thing.
Doesn't everybody start on Volkswagens? I feel like all these great shops are like, I first started on a Volkswagen. Everybody we talk to, it's like either
it's air cooled, you can't break it, right?
Like mini trucks and Volkswagens is where the whole industry is sprouted from.
By the way, that sounds like either a concert or a band name. Mini trucks and Volkswagens.
Could be an event that the Truck Show podcast puts on.
I think I've lived through a couple of those events.
He built the building that we're currently in 28 years ago, and we added on to it throughout the years. And then we just expanded here and bought a tire shop that was actually right next door to us, which ended up being just perfect timing. Everything just fell in place. But then we expanded, and now the square footage of the shop itself is 33,000 square feet. About August of last year, just a little bit before that, because August we moved into this new building and doubled our size essentially. Him and I were scrambling. We had just purchased a new building. We had a new mortgage, and we were a busy shop, but we were more of just a local shop. And we had gone from imports when he originally started. We didn't even do diesel until I couldn't put a date on it, but maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
So it hasn't been very long. And he changed the name maybe 20 years ago from Import Auto to just Complete Auto. Anyway, so we had this new building. We were worried about filling the new space, getting new mechanics to fill the bays, the new mortgage, all this stuff. And he came to me and he said, "Figure it out."
Ouch.
Of course, he coddled you with a big kitten sweater and a hug, right?
Yeah, that's not quite his style. He just more said, "Figure it out. We got this new mortgage." Because his thing for a lot of years has been, I have my slice of pie, and I'm not giving you any of it unless you create more.
I mean, that's fair,
respectable.
I've got a family member.
If you're a spoiled brat, it sucks.
Well, that's
but if you're not,
I've got a family member, and I won't out which one of them this person is. Mm-hmm. But he once told me with his kids, he said, "I put them through college, and I told them when I die, don't expect anything from me."
Yeah, he's got to spend it all, right?
Like, wow.
I found real value in it because a lot of times my dad has said the biggest motivator to somebody is
Hunger?
an empty stomach.
Yeah. I was going to say, exactly.
And so he said, if you want this, which I did, I wanted to expand because I needed to create my own slice of the pie, so to say. He said, figure it out. And so we tried a bunch of different things, and we've tried a bunch of different marketing strategies and things. And what we've done for so many years is quality. We just hammer that, and our team, we're surrounded by great mechanics and just brilliant minds. And so we've been really lucky that way to create that foundation, but we needed more of it. And so this was June or July of last year. And I said, Dad, we haven't tried social media. And I'm like, you're a great mechanic, but your personality is even better, and people like that, and people like your candor and your ability to preach, so to say, about the value of a mechanic and the value of being in this industry and your knowledge. I said, just let's give it a shot. We've never really tried it. And at that point I think we had 100, maybe 200 followers on all the social media platforms. But the secret of that was most of those people were my in-laws and friends that I forced to hit the like button.
Right.
So that was my social media strategy at that point, was to force people to hit that follow button. When he got on board, he said to me at that point, as we were trying to do this, and I wanted to take our quality of engines that we were building at that point, and I wanted to expand that to the world. He replied to me at first. He said, and he'll tell this story, but he said, son, keep your eye on the ball. Just fix cars, and that's all you need to do. And we battled with that for months. And finally he was like, okay, whatever, let's try it. And right after he said that, not within 2 weeks, we had some couple here that were washing our windows. And they did the best freaking job that we've ever seen. Our windows were transparent. They came to us and they said, your guys' social media sucks. We can do better. And we kind of laughed, and we thought, you guys are washing our windows. Not to be rude, but we've hired these companies that know this and know that, and we spend.
There's so what you're telling us? You guys are editors, SEO,
videographers, equipment.
There's no way you guys carry a red camera around with you. What are you doing? You got a bucket and a washcloth.
Then you realize they had the #1 followed window washing YouTube channel called Clear Windows, and they had 2 billion followers.
The thing is, and before you tell us the story, I'm going to pause you right there because I'm excited to see how this comes out. I follow this guy. It's like, oh shoot, I should know this now because I follow him. It's like SoCal Windows, and it's one dude in Orange County, California, and he installs windshields and glass, and he has the most entertaining channel. You'd never expect to watch a guy change windshields. Like, of all things, you're like, no, he's chopping out the old glue and he's putting in a windshield, but he dresses up in a tuxedo and a suit and tie, and he's got like 300,000 followers on Instagram. People just watch it and put in windshields. It's wild. So back to your story. This couple is washing your windows.
Yeah, and so here's an even more odd twist. They had nothing. They had moved here, and their social media had kind of died, but they were actually doing a cooking channel, and they had tons of followers on their cooking channel. But then they had moved, and they were just trying to pick up some extra money, and they were doing this to get things going and to get integrated here in Utah. So we said, okay, what the heck? We'll give it a shot. Then here we are. Within 10 months, I think, is about the time they took us from nothing, 100 to 200 followers, and now I think on all the platforms we're at I think we just hit 3.3 million across.
Oh my gosh,
the platforms.
Right?
Share some of the love, man. Send some people our way.
The thing is, so before you continue, because Miles, this is fascinating for anyone that has a YouTube channel or Instagram feed or whatever, TikTok, is that the hardest thing is repetition. And Holman and I talk about this in podcasting all the time. Guys,
you mean the 2 days a week we meet to record the podcast?
Well,
every week.
Well, it's one of the
week
most
after week, month after month, year after year.
Because we say that in over 6 years of doing this podcast, we have only missed 1 week, as far as I know. Is it
1
two?
or 2. So I think it's 2.
It's still pretty
but
good.
it wasn't missed. It was we took it off for vacation
And we
holidays.
recorded an
and we
episode-
recorded a double up, so nobody,
Right.
you guys
But
weren't left in the
the
lurch.
point, though, is Holman more so than I gets a question all the time. It's like, hey, I'm going to start a podcast, Sean. What do I do? Like, what do I need to know?
Don't quit.
You're like, don't quit. He's like, what do you mean don't quit? It's like, you have to do, are you prepared to do something every single week for the next 10 years? And they're like, what do you mean? I have to do it every single week. And so anyway, getting back to your channel is that you guys are putting out multiple episodes per week, and they're all interesting. Tell me about when you first shot the couple videos, or what was first, what did you do, and how did they get the mix right off the bat?
They really taught us, and so it's great as me and my dad think we are. They really taught us, like, content is everything. And when we first started doing some of the videos, we kind of mentally signed up for, okay, we'll do some social media. Hopefully it takes off, and hopefully we can grow the business. And so we went in with an attitude that was not very committed. And
I love the honesty.
Kind of like you guys say. Well, like you guys say, I mean, and which, by the way, everybody here loves your podcast. I think everybody in the shop is like drooling. Like, you guys get to do this podcast? That's
Man,
our
I was just
favorite
in Salt-
thing that we listen to.
I was just in Salt Lake City, 2 weeks ago. I should have made time to come up and see you guys.
What were you doing up there? Were you
You'll
test
always
driving?
be welcome.
No, that was when I went to the Brooks and Dunn concert.
Oh, that's right. You were just there.
Just hanging out.
Was
It
that in Salt
awesome.
Lake?
Yeah, Salt Lake.
You were right there, 10 minutes from him.
I know. Now I'm mad I didn't go up to see the
Wah,
shop.
wah,
I
yeah.
know. Well, I go to Salt Lake a lot, so I'll just have to see you guys next time I go out there.
So then,
Yeah.
Miles, so you had this weird kind of non-committal, no, not weird, but I guess that's what would be
Realistic.
expected. Realistic non-committal. And then what happens?
So yeah, a lot of our videos at first were just nothing but, hey, this couple, we were like, hey, just go film the guys in the shop. Just figure it out. We're too busy. Don't bother us, kind of thing. And they eventually told us, they came to my dad and they said, no, Dave, this isn't right. Like, you have to be on this. You have to commit to it. And they're like, your shop has so much valuable content. And they said, what is in your brain is so valuable that they're like, you need to get in front of the camera and you need to do this. And so me and my dad sat down and we thought, gosh, we've never really done anything in our life that we haven't just fully committed to. So why not this? If this is going to be the answer, let's do it. Like, let's get on board and just do it. Kind of like you guys have said, it's one of those things that mentally you have to be committed for the grind. And so we did. We just were like, let's do it. And so a lot of our days, I mean, the videos that we're doing are mostly shorts and stuff, but the amount of time that it takes in our day to do those is a lot. But they said, it'll work. Just commit to it. Just do it. And so we did. We were putting a lot of time into it, and we're just trying to make it fun and have fun with it and really provide valuable information is really our goal. And they work with us to optimize it. I mean, we probably post, out of all the videos that we do, only maybe 30%, 40% of them actually get posted. And how many retakes we do, I stopped counting, because my dad's a natural. He's perfect for camera. Me, my percentage is like a ton lower, because it's just he's great on camera and I'm not as much. So we do a lot of videos that don't get posted because they suck.
Miles, I can tell you're great on podcasts, though. So
Phenomenal. And he's attractive,
The best.
and yeah,
The
well,
best.
he comes across great. So we edit this show quite a bit as well. Like we do a
mostly
bunch
because
of,
we suck at podcasting.
yeah, we suck. We're not
that's
good.
The joke.
Someday we'll be professionals.
We won't,
I don't
but
know when that'll be.
no.
Never. Okay,
No,
that's
I mean,
possible.
we've been doing this almost 7 years. It hasn't gotten better. So, I mean, just being honest.
Yeah, we accidentally get good ratings.
Yeah, people stumble on us, and we're just not the worst.
We're just not worse.
That's actually our new catchphrase, the Truck Show Podcast with Lightning and Holman. We're not the worst.
We're just not worse. We're not getting worse. We are worse. I don't
No,
know. We'll come
none
up
of
with
those things.
a t-shirt slogan later. So then you're doing this stuff. So for those of you guys that don't know, The channels are monstrous. YouTube is where I fell in love with, as your dad calls, longs, but that's long form video, more than 10 minutes. And guys, you do a lot of these 60-second shorts, both on Instagram and on YouTube Shorts. You just look up Dave's Auto Center or just Dave's Auto. It'll be the first thing that pops up. You don't have to go looking hard for it. It's right there. And I love you do pack a lot of information in 60 seconds. So if you're the kind of person that's got the TikTok like ADD, that's for you. But if you want to sink your teeth into something, you want to see, an engine being sleeved, or you want to see,
would you say it's the TikTok don't stop?
Speed of air piston analysis, or like all these things that you guys do in long form, you have both avenues covered.
Well, thank you. We like I said, we put a lot of effort and time into it, but what is most important to us is that people know throughout the whole world that being a mechanic is the coolest thing. And we like the value that a mechanic is, how intelligent they are, how adaptable they are, just the craftsman that a true mechanic is so amazing that we really want to show off to the world that it's a great thing to do, and we love it. And that working with your hands, fixing stuff, like whether it's a car, whatever trade it is, that has so much value, and that there's so many life lessons that come from that's really our platform, is not necessarily just advertisement of our business, but showing that fixing stuff is great. And that we love it.
Well, and clearly it hasn't done much for your business, because I'm looking on your website, and let's see, Duramax, LLY, availability, 13 to 16 weeks. Oh, let's look at Power Stroke. 6.7, 13 to 16
So you're
weeks.
saying back order. They're not slow. They're back ordered.
Power Stroke, 6.4, 10 to 13 weeks.
Right.
I wish you guys had a busy shop.
So it's insane. It's done, and I want to find out what it's done for your business. I assume
Well, I want to talk about the business. I'm curious to find out. You guys are building these engines, all three of the common platforms, plus some other kind of oddball stuff like the 5-cylinder Mercedes turbo diesel, which has an issue with blowing things up itself. And I'm kind of curious. I mean, we don't have to dive into it now. Maybe do it as we finish the course of this. But what are you seeing in each of those engines? What are things people have to look out for? I mean, you have so much experience with doing a deep dive on these diesels. It's that's just a wealth of information for the average guy.
I mean, you're tempting me to go deep.
I know.
Do you want me to do a deep dive? Do you want to go?
Sure.
You want to go there?
Sure.
All right, hold
All
on.
right,
We're
here
doing
we
a
go.
deep dive.
Prepare to dive.
Prepare to dive.
Aye, Captain! Captain, we're too deep!
There's no such thing as too deep. Okay, that was too deep.
In order to build all of these engines, Holman, I don't know if you've seen the inside, because I watch more of these episodes probably than you do, because I'm addicted to YouTube. When you think of a mechanic shop, they've got a Hunter tire, a machine that puts the tires on, balances them. They've got maybe some basic machines around the shop that you've seen everywhere. But Dave's is not that shop. Dave and Miles have assembled all of the best machines. The machines that are in there are like manufacturing level. Tell us a little bit about that, and let's get into engines.
So the story goes back a little bit, since we're deep diving here. The story goes back to when my dad was working in a dealership. This is really what ignited this in him, with equipment and tools to do the job right. But he was at a dealership, and he bought an old school welder, because they were repairing a lot of exhaust back then. And so he bought a welder, because at the time, the shop, between all the mechanics, would, when they would have to do exhaust repair, they would share the welder. And he's like, that's killing my time. I got to make money here. So if I need a tool, I'm going to buy it. And he said he bought that. It was expensive for him at the time. And everybody in the shop made fun of him, because they're like, oh, that's such a waste of money. You can just borrow it when we're done with it. That kind of is his origin story, so to say, with tools. Is he learned at that point, and within a quick time frame, he was fixing a bunch of stuff a lot quicker than anybody else because he had the tool that he needed. So it ended up, his investment gave him great return. When he started the shop, he was sending things out to machine shops locally, and he just, he would pull off a cylinder head, have a valve job done, get it back, and it just wasn't quite how he wanted it, and he didn't like that. So our first piece of equipment was an old Sunnin cylinder head machine, and so that's how our machine shop started. But that's how really everything has spawned here is, if we need a tool, we're going to figure out how to get it. We're going to make the right investment, and then get on our knees and pray after that we can actually make money for us.
Right.
Yeah.
And it always hasn't paid off right away, but we at least have the tools so that we can grow as our business. We just put in the grind to make it work. And that's why when we did social media and these the window washers, we'll call them, that's why when they saw this, they're like, oh my gosh, this is not your regular oil change and tire busting shop. These guys are total nerds for tools. Yeah, and so we just really, we like our tools, and that brought us 7 or so years ago to working on diesel, because we really saw the industry moving to that. Me more so than my dad. I was kind of a diesel nut, and so I loved that world and that community of diesel people, and I just was fascinated by it. And so we started doing diesel, and we just really love building diesel engines. So we do plenty of LS, Hemi. We do really, one of our flaws is we like to do so many different engines. We'll do a Dutz. We do 4-wheeler engines, small engines. I mean, we do a lot of things just because we like to know how to fix it. And so we're not a huge production shop, but we stick to, when it comes to engines, we stick to the big 3. And we really like to focus on those because we feel like there can be a lot of improvements on those.
So then you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say let's walk through the various engine platforms, because obviously you've got Cummins 5.9s and 6.7s, and they're a little bit different through the years. So let's start with Cummins. What are the things that you guys see? And then the other thing is, are you building stock engines? I noticed online that there's some options for tow monsters. I also saw there's something called a juggernaut. So let's talk about the weaknesses of the engines that need to be fixed, and then what you do at each level to make that engine perform the way the user is.
I'm also, Holman, trying to figure out where they draw the line between repair and then like a full-blown
performance build?
Performance build,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got the man on the phone who can answer for us.
Again, we just love fixing anything. So we're a 32 bay shop, and we'll still change people's oil.
Damn. Hold on. Wait. Stop right there.
That's big.
32 bays. Damn.
Yeah, I don't even think our local dealership has that many.
Holy man. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
So I mean, I look outside the window here. I'm here at the shop. I mean, we're fixing a Subaru, a Ford Explorer. Then we've got vans in here, big trucks, lifted trucks. I mean, we like to do it all. We like being mechanics, and to us that means fixing anything. But if we go back to the Cummins, I'm a Cummins owner, so I would like to say that they're flawless, but
but you can't.
we can't.
How many cylinder number 6s have you had to replace an engine over with that little bolt bouncing around?
Too many, and that's so we do in the cylinder 6. So my brother Joey is he runs our machine shop. He's got a lot of machining background, so he's really good at that. But yeah, in cylinder 6 we sleeve a lot of those, especially in the 5.9s, because they have porosity issues in the cylinder walls. If you bore them out too much, they'll actually leak coolant through, especially that number 6 cylinder. But that 6 cylinder can get hot. It can grab a piston or the skirt of a piston and cause damage there. So,
you're talking about two different issues, right? So you got the 5.9 with a cylinder 6, and then you have like the modern 07 and to current 6.7 liter Cummins that has the grid heater bolt failure. I think that you're talking about, Holman, where that the grid heater falls apart. I think you guys were talking about on one of your recent videos.
Yeah, so like the 07.5 with the 6.7, where they have that grid heater, and that nut comes off or melts off basically and gets sucked into that cylinder. We see that all the time, which is unfortunate. Again, because I own a 6.7 Cummins, and just we don't. A lot of people say, "Why are you guys beating up the manufacturers and this and that?" That does not fit with our platform. We're not trying to beat up or diss any manufacturer. We're just saying that they engineered it at the time, seemed like it would work. Unfortunately, it didn't. There's some designs that didn't hold up, like the grid heater and the 6.7, and there's a solution for it. But that's the beauty of the world we live in, is if somebody makes a mistake, there's other people that can bring a solution.
Yeah, I mean, there's equal number of. I mean, look at the Ford 6.0, right? The head studs, or you have to stud the engine and all that.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you?
Compare it to a Cummins?
Listen, the 6.0 guys know that after you spend $15,000 in aftermarket parts, those things are bulletproof. So just hold yourself back.
Okay, all right.
We don't need this kind of vile and vitriol against the 6-liter guys.
Yeah.
Those guys, they have a lot of pride. And it hurts them. It hurts their hearts. Breaks their soul just a little bit.
But they know.
Every
That's why
time
it hurts.
you
It's
remind
painful.
them.
Yeah, I know. On those 5.9s and 6.7s, are you doing some performance, or are you just basically building those because everyone in Utah's got a trailer and they need to tow?
Yes to both questions, but even our like stock or standard build has something that is better than stock. Especially, on the 5.9, there's not too much that we do different. 5.9 or 6.7, I should say. There's not too much that we do in the stock build. Our most popular platform, especially right now, is what we call our Tow Monster Plus, and that has on all of the platforms, Power Stroke, Cummins, and Duramax. We do cylinder head bolts. We do heavy duty main and rod bearings. We do some sort of upgraded towing camshaft, but then our Plus series incorporates the speed of air pistons with a total seal gapless second ring. And we typically O-ring the cylinder heads as well. So we're doing a lot of things. All of our engines are torque plate honed, align honed, and blueprinted. When it comes to the nerds and us that love fixing stuff, especially engines, we put a lot of pride and attention into each build that we do. So our lead times are longer, and a lot of people say, well, why the crap? Just build me an engine really quick. Our core of us is not about quick and just get it out the door and make sure it works decent enough. No, we like to really make sure each clearance, everything we do is as good as we can get it.
Well, I mean, so two thoughts is that, one, it's not just XYZ Auto Center. It's got your family's name on it, your father's name on it, and it's literally his reputation. No different than Gail Banks, who I work for. If he lets something crappy out the door, people curse his name. They don't curse XYZ Diesel Shop in Salt Lake City. They go, Dave screwed me over with this thing. Or conversely, they say, this is the best my truck's ever run thanks to Dave's.
Or I'm never listening to that podcast again because of lightning.
Oh, that's possible. That probably happens a lot.
When somebody comes in here mad, which is we often say on the front of the building, it does say Dave's Auto. It does not say God's Auto Repairs. So we have been known to make mistakes, and it's as good as we are. Sometimes we have a bad day, or we have a part that goes bad, or whatever. But when they come in, if they're upset, Dave may not have been involved at all in one tiny ounce of a project, but if they come in and they're upset, they want Dave. So yes, our name is on it. His name is on it. So it's very important to us that it's right. Same thing with Banks.
And it's no different than when you go to you get a bad burger and you're like, I want to see the manager. The cheese was falling off the side of my burger. It's the same deal, right? Show me the management.
Right.
Here's a cockroach in my Duramax.
Oh, gross. So going back, Miles, for a second to, now I know what I want to say about the machining is that most, not all, but most shops, smaller shops, they send out the machining, the head work, and all that stuff to be done out of
You're
house.
at the mercy of your supplier as far as quality control.
Exactly. You're doing that in-house, correct?
Everything. Correct.
I mean, that's amazing.
Huge. That's huge.
There's so much work, and that's the type of machinery that I was referring to. Typically, that gets sent out to guys who just do heads. He's like, well, we just do heads in our head department right here. Let me show you under that roof. I think that's super impressive.
So going back to the platforms real quick, I'm still curious. Like, what are the failure points? What are the things that you're seeing, and why do people get a rebuild? Is it because they put 500,000 miles on their pickup truck and they love the truck so much, or is it because there's some failure at a certain time?
A lot of our customers, and we're getting trucks in from all across the country, but they, they've got, whether it's, an early like LB7 Duramax or an early Cummins and a ton of 6.0 and 6.4 Power Strokes. Those trucks to people are affordable, and if the engine goes bad, then their options are very few. They either go out and buy a $30,000 to $50,000 gamble on a truck that then they still have to maintain. They still have to pray that nothing's going to go wrong with it, and then they have all the issues with not knowing who maintained it prior. But if they just fix their truck, yeah, there's still an investment into it, but then they have a warranty on it. The engine is better than what came from the factory. $30,000 to $50,000 is fairly conservative, especially here in the Utah market. And that gets you a decent truck. But if you go out and buy a brand new truck, I mean, some of these trucks are over $100,000. And for somebody to either invest that amount and have a huge car payment, or just invest into their truck that might be paid off or pretty close to it, and then they get something that's an engine that's better than it was from the factory, that a lot of people see value in that. And the truck still, the overall condition may be just fine. The engine may have just had 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 miles on it, and it just gave up.
Miles, how many trucks do you see come in where they've got engine damage, failure, because they have been improperly tuned, let's say, and maybe it comes in with a bad tune. The guy tried to add way too much horsepower, or it was tuned and then he put it back to stock, and then the guy claims, oh, it's never been tuned, and you look at it and go, this had someone's crappy tune in. I can tell, right? That has to happen.
So the two main reasons that we see engines fail is probably number one, lack of maintenance. Sometimes an engine's just high mileage, but a lot of the engines that we're seeing are on trucks that have, maybe 200,000 miles on it, sometimes not even 100,000 miles on it. And people don't maintain it. And so my dad has this term, we actually made a t-shirt about it, but it says, do your maintenance, dang it, I'm busy. Because
tell me you sell that.
He's like, we do.
Okay, good.
But our thing about that is, as an engine builder and as somebody that their business is based off of people breaking down and trying to fix their car, like, we preach maintenance, because if people just did that, that would eliminate the number one reason that we see of engines failing. If you just did your oil change, and other fluids and things like that, we would see so many less engines fail, and we might have to figure out a different business. But
don't tell people your secret.
No,
Miles, let them.
No,
they've already got a 6-month wait. He doesn't need any more. He's like, stop it.
No, we do. I mean, we want to tell people we're here because we like to do it. But if people just did that, we would. We might have to fix more boats. I don't know. We might have to do something else to stay busy. But yes, probably the number two thing, which is a very close second, is improper tuning. And a lot of people think that, just throwing on a tuner there and running it at the 5th stage or whatever performance stage. I've ran a truck and hopped it up on a tune before. There's no doubt about it that it's fun, but most of those are, and a lot of third-party tunes that they get from some random person online is not maintainable, and pretty shortly after that tune,
Who would have thought?
It blows the truck up.
Yeah. It's great. I love the discussion, and we don't have to go into this here. This is for a whole nother conversation, but I can't tell you how many times I see this online every single day in the GM groups, the Ford groups, and the Ram groups. And the guy's like, I got a custom tune. I got it from dieselbros.com or, the diesel dudes or whatever, like all these quasi legitimate sites, but they always use the term custom tune. And I'm like, you don't understand. It's like a Metallica Enter Sandman, right? It's the same. It's the same MP3. Holman gives it to me, then I email it to you, then you email it to your buddy, and each time we move it, I make a buck. He makes a buck. The next guy makes a buck. It's the same tune. There's nothing custom about it.
It's a dangerous thing to play around with. That we see a lot of people that don't have the education or don't know how to do it properly. Part of us is thankful for it because it does keep us busy, but we wish people at the same time, just like maintenance, would just do it right. But there's so many people that say, hey, I know how to do this. And we see that with mechanics, people that might buy a toolbox and have fixed a thing or two think, oh, I can do that. Just like the people I see on YouTube, I can be a mechanic. It's a fun thing to do, and we want a ton of people to do it and value it, but it's also a really hard thing to do right. And there's a lot of jokers out there doing tunes, like you're saying, and they're far from right. And it's within a few thousand miles even, or sooner, we're seeing trucks blow up, and it's too costly to the customer.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ford and like the Duramax product in the diesel world anyway. What are you seeing there? Failure points, or are you not?
Yeah. So you brought up the 6-liter Power Stroke. That's the 6-liter and the 6.4 liter are probably our favorite to build, for the sense that, like you mentioned earlier, once you put some money into it, there were so many flaws, unfortunately, from the factory that once you fix those, you have a fantastic engine. So usually what we do, especially on the 6.0 and the 6.4, are fairly similar, but they only have 4 bolts per cylinder, and that's just not enough distributed clamping force on that cylinder head to help prevent from a cylinder head gasket failure. So the most common thing that we do, even on our stock engine, is put in cylinder head studs, which provides a better, more even clamping force along that cylinder head. Our most popular package for the 6.0 and 6.4 is doing our tow monster, because then we O-ring the cylinder heads, we put in the cylinder head studs, and then we do an upgraded camshaft. We do heavy duty bearings, but then the way that we hone those, the way that we align hone them, because they have a main girdle that so basically the engine block and a big girdle holding the crankshaft, that's all precision machined and align honed. Then we also can put hardened valve seats, because the cylinder heads are really prone. I don't think there's a cylinder head that we've pulled off. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's a very low percentage of cylinder heads that we remove on those that aren't cracked at some area of the cylinder head.
Interesting.
So they have a lot of issues with dissipating heat properly. So we try and do hardened seats, bronze valve guides, and a few different things to just make those cylinder heads breathe and dissipate heat better.
Are you seeing much in the way of the new generation of 6.7s, Ford 6.7s coming in? Or are they relatively problem-free, or are you not seeing because they're still under warranty?
So that's probably, the 6.7 is probably the most common engine that we're doing right now, because it's plagued with a lot of failures, and it's still a nice truck, and so people are investing in it. But
are you seeing the early miles? Are you seeing the earlier ones, like the 11 to 16 in that range?
Yeah, so 11 to 16, especially the 2011 to 12, they used really weak steel in the valves. So we're seeing valves break off in the 2011 and 12 models, just because it's weak steel, and sometimes they'll either get really thin and cause drivability issues, or they'll just break off and then grenade the engine. So those we see a lot for that issue. But the 11 to 16, they use smaller connecting rods. The wrist pins on the rods are smaller. So the 11 to 16 on what we're doing now is we're putting in the larger, basically like 16 and a half on up. We're putting in the larger connecting rods in the earlier models for more beefy, strong connecting rod. We're balancing the engine. But a lot of the failure that we're seeing on these is the main bearings. With all the engines that we worked on, it's very rare for us to see. We see connecting rod bearings spin all the time, but a main bearing on a 6.7 is spinning at just a mind-boggling rate. It's crazy to us, but that is I'd have to recall the oiling diagram, but there's a few flaws with that 6.7 and we've done a test on it, but the main bearings are not the first thing, like most engines, to be oiled. So it usually gets the oiling through the camshaft, and then it eventually goes to the main bearings. So they're not getting oiled quick enough. But then the tolerance or the clearance on them is like a half thou. So it's really, really tight. And so we try and open that up a little bit so that there's better oil penetration there. But we've actually ran in our simulated run-in stand a 6.7 liter, and it takes, I'd have to recall the video exactly that we did and the test that we did, but I think it takes about 7 to 8 seconds for like the turbo pedestal area to get oil and the valve train area to get oil once the engine is cranking. So that area is not getting oil for 7 seconds.
That's crazy.
That's
that
a long time.
So Miles, I don't know if you saw this. This is interesting because I want to pause here because so
should we just do a quick experiment? 7 seconds of lightning saying nothing, just so you can see how long it is. You think that's what you want, but
get out your phone and time it.
But it's longer than you think.
You tell me when to start. I'm going to keep talking until you tell me to stop.
All right, are you ready?
So I want to tell you, a couple weeks ago, we shot a. Damn, that was a long
time, wasn't it?
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
So Miles, I don't know if you saw it. Gail Banks is going to be doing some stuff with the 6.7. I can't say what yet because we haven't disclosed it. But he says, "Hey, let's tear apart one of these engines because they're winning the horsepower war, right? They've got the most horsepower of any of the diesels today in 2024 and the most torque. How did they get here? Well, I happen to have a 2011 engine that Ford gave me in 2010. It's been sitting on the same engine stand, untouched with no lubricants in it for other than just like the original assembly lubricants since 2010. So we tore it apart. And we did a video about it, and it was fascinating how innovative some of that stuff was. And turns out years later, of course, a lot of the stuff failed. But at the time, it was really unique. Like the oiling system, Holman, they didn't use external hoses for the oiling system. It's all in the casting, in the oil pan casting. It's really wild. We'll talk about the turbo in a second, but a lot of guys were saying that when they were timing it on cold starts, oil wasn't getting up to the turbo, just like Miles said, for 8 seconds. That's nuts.
Time.
That's a lot of bearing sets that are going unoiled for 8 seconds.
Now, but keep in mind with this testing that we've done, this was in our simulated run-in stand. That warms the oil up to about, I think, 100 degrees. So that's already warm oil. It's already, we have the pickup tube submerged in oil, but that's an engine that we've already ran, has already been fully lubricated, and then we let it completely drain out. Then we put the pickup tube back. We leave it submerged the whole time, and then we crank it again after like 30 minutes of sitting. Crank it again, and that's where we got that 7 seconds from it.
That's even worse.
It's even worse.
Yeah, because you imagine a cold start in Alaska.
No, could you imagine?
Oh, that's bad news. And then you have the twin compressor
That's why those
turbo.
guys don't turn it off in wintertime.
Have you seen that, Holman? I didn't even know that thing existed until Gail pulled apart the engine. I didn't know that there was a twin compressor turbo. I
Yeah.
guess it was Garrett made it back
Yeah.
in the day. Well, you were a journalist back then, but I wasn't
I'm
following
a
this
journalist
stuff.
now, pal.
I'm just saying I wasn't even in this world back then, right? And here they are, and Gail pulls it across, and I said, wait a minute, it's got a dual-sided compressor wheel. Obviously, all the Ford guys listening who are the Ford fans, they're like, Lightning, you're a moron. What do you want me to say? I didn't know that this existed, but it's fascinating tech. However, it only lasted a couple years. Apparently, it was so problematic. It didn't, they ejected them all, and people replaced those turbo systems. Were you finding the failures as well?
Yeah, yes, we were with the turbos. The 6.7, the way that they've done that with the exhaust at the center of the engine, there's some different designs that they did. The engineering behind it is a good concept, but just poorly executed.
Okay.
He kind of just gave up on that.
He lost his speed on
You know
that.
why? Because he's explained it to so many people. He just decided halfway through it, coming out of his mouth, that I'm just blanket statement. Screw it. I'm not going into it. We don't have enough time left.
It was almost good, but not enough.
Not enough. Okay, so then skipping over to Duramax, what are your feelings there? From all the way from 01 to current.
That's probably our most controversial platform is the Duramax.
Really?
Yes. Now we do. I love. I'm a Cummins owner, but I love the Duramax. I think it's a great engine. They really have not changed it a whole lot throughout basically 2001 to now. And so it's a good design, but the thing that we're seeing the most common on those, besides just lack of maintenance and the engine failing because somebody didn't maintain it well enough, on the camshaft and crankshaft, on the crankshaft particularly, there's 3 dowel pins for a timing guide pin, and on the camshaft as well, so that the timing can all be aligned up properly. We're seeing a lot of those dowel pins shear off, and then the engine will get out of time, and then when that happens, we have piston and valve collision, and everything goes sideways from there.
I'm not saying I know. I'm not saying that I know about this, because I wouldn't know about this unless I did this to a very expensive supercharged Duramax recently.
Huh. I remember that thing.
Yes. All right.
So
sorry.
and the reason it's so known, and the reason it's so controversial, is because on all of our Duramaxes, we don't rebuild it without machining out that dowel pin and putting in a keyway. And a lot of people on the internet who will remain nameless, but they say, and we tell people, it's a big issue on a lot of the engines that we're tearing down. We see that as part of the cause of failure. And a lot of people are saying that's because, if a mechanic shop took off the water pump at one point, and then when you remove the harmonic balancer, if they didn't put it on properly and torque it up properly, that looseness there is what holds in the harmonic balancer and the other timing gears, and that's what causes the failure, is just somebody that's messed with it, essentially, and torqued it improperly. And that probably is a reason for the failure, but that can't be the reason for all of the failures that we see. And that's something that we want to make clear, is that a lot of people are scared because they're like, oh my gosh, my truck's going to blow up now, and I've put 300,000 miles on it, and I've never worried about this, and now I'm worried about it. Again, our platform is not to scare people, it's just to educate people that it can happen, to be careful. But there are trucks that we see that have blown up or because of a dowel pin failure, that have never had a water pump removed or never had the harmonic balancer removed. So the explanation there as to why that, the timing gear slipped and sheared the dowel pin, I think there's a number of different reasons for speculation. We don't have a firm answer. Could it be because, some people say it's because of the firing order of the Duramax, and it causes a lot of load on the front of that crankshaft, which can cause them to break, which is another issue with the Duramaxes. Is it because of that? Is it because somebody tuned it and that put it out of the stock design? There's a number of different things, but we get a lot of speculation
theories.
talk.
Sure.
The Duramax, there's really There's a few things that we do, but it's a pretty well-built platform in our opinion. Besides the dowel pin thing, which we keyway the camshaft and crankshaft, there are some upgrades that we do. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to do to those and tons of money to invest in them, but I think overall, pretty solid build.
Let's flip the script a minute.
Nope.
Why?
I want to know about the Sprinter. And the reason I'm asking about the Sprinters, he has it listed with his diesel stuff.
I saw that.
Is my aunt and uncle had a Sprinter 5-cylinder go bye-bye in their motorhome.
Okay.
And the cost to
Now,
fix
this is
one of
the
those,
diesel 5-cylinder?
Yeah.
Okay.
The cost to replace those things, and the parts are like unobtainium, and there's barely any support in the U.S. for those things. So all these people have that generation of Sprinter van as like a motorhome chassis, and they're stuck because I think a new motor is like, or a new engine is something like $25,000 new or something, and you can't really rebuild them. So I saw it was listed on there. I'm like, oh, that's one of the first times I've heard of somebody actually going through those engines. So what say you, Miles?
What say you?
That's something that we got involved in right about the time that we started doing a lot of diesels. So, 7, give or take, years ago. That I would say is probably one of the favorite things that we do here at our shop, is because we found at the time I took in a job or two of these Sprinter vans that we've never really seen before. We started to market online a little bit different. And we did 1 or 2, and man, they kicked our butt. They were the wiring diagrams, whether it was translated from German to English, the way that the wiring diagrams we found really quickly, and the repair information online was trash. It was incorrect, inaccurate. It was just plagued with issues. And so usually when we go to something that's fairly new or that we're unfamiliar with, we can at least refer to repair manuals or online information through different sources.
And you guys probably use like All Data or something like that, right? And you're saying that was wacky?
So we actually have All Data. We have Identifix, Mitchell. We subscribe to a bunch of different things because some of our mechanics are very particular about their information. And so we subscribe to all of that. And all of that information, we were finding some of it was fine, but a lot of it wasn't. And so it made it really difficult for us to diagnose it. And we were having a lot of dealerships, whether they were, it was a Dodge dealership when they were badged a Dodge in like the early 2000s for the Sprinters, or even, the Mercedes or Freightliner badge as newer stuff. We had local dealerships turning people away because they're like, we'll work on a Mercedes or we'll work on a Dodge as long as it's not a van. So we were like, what the heck? Let's get our butt kicked for a little bit and figure these out. And now, as far as our repair business goes, that's probably 40% of our repair business.
What?
Yeah. See, when I saw that on your website, I was thinking to myself, man, that makes sense because I haven't seen anybody willing to tackle those things. And all these people, they've got motorhomes and chassis cabs or fleet trucks, and they're just kind of left out in the cold because the dealer just shrugs and goes, so then, sorry.
What I'm hearing is people are flatbedding these to you from all around the country.
We have, and ask my wife, I'm pretty dramatic, but I won't BS you, but it's all flex here for a little bit. we have consistent customers that we've had people, we have a handful of customers that actually come from Alaska, from Canada, and they'll bring us their van once a year for service. I love Sprinter vans because it's one of those things where the mechanic pride in me likes to talk. Not a lot of places will do those because they are such a unique animal. If like the Mercedes dealerships, they only have select people that only work on Sprinter vans, and that's a very few. Like sometimes it's only one mechanic, maybe 2 mechanics, and not every Mercedes dealership has them.
That's what I was going to say. They aren't at every location because I think you have to be a Sprinter certified.
It was a really big deal, the one by me in Long Beach. When they brought in the Sprinter vans, they advertised very heavily that they had a couple dedicated mechanics, and that is rare.
I'll boast about our team here. Everybody's got their butt kicked by them because that's how you learn, unfortunately, with Sprinter vans, is just the school of hard knocks. but we have at least 6 mechanics in our shop that can do them in their sleep. They are so good at them, and we repair so many of them. We love them because we figured them out. We figured out the secret love language for a Sprinter van, and we like them.
And it's one of those things where the van itself is really well built. I mean, German engineering, and if you can get past the issues that those engines have, the chassis itself will go for a long time.
What is the main thing that is going wrong with these, Miles? Is it an engine or is it a wiring issue?
So the 2.7 liter 5-cylinder ones, so basically from 2002 to 2006, 7 a little bit. It's mostly, a lot of people are doing the van life thing now. And so COVID really took off for us because a lot of people were living in vans. And that was a lifestyle. So we picked up a lot of that community. They do have some electrical issues, but a lot of times it's because these vans are 500,000+ miles and things just start wearing out. I think they're really solid vans if maintained properly. I think Mercedes did a great job on those. I think the biggest obstacle with those vans really is not the design side of it, but the lack of valuable information that's out there and people that know how to work on them.
Okay, so I'm dying to flip it and talk about gas for a minute. We've been talking a lot about diesel, which is, you guys know I love, but let's talk gas. Tell me, Miles, what your favorite gas truck is right now. Gas or GM? Is it the Ford 7.3 gas? Is it what is it that you think is, you see so few of them, you're like, this is the one that I would buy if I were going to buy a gas pickup?
Definitely 100% Ford 2.3 liter EcoBoost.
Do you think so? I
No.
don't think so.
No, I don't.
I was going to say wow there for a second. The 7.3 liter.
I like how he's got a lot of thoughts on this, right? He's just taking a big old breath.
I would love to say that we don't really have that much experience with it, in all honesty, because it's so new, and we're, at least our particular world that we're in and what we're doing. We do get some people that ask us to do it. We're still so busy repairing, things that are 5+ years old, that we don't really get into those too much, to be honest.
Okay, so then Miles, let's scrap that and just.
I was going to say, how about a specific question? Because my buddy Josh was recently looking for a diesel, right? And so he said, since you're testing all the stuff, what's the better truck in a 1-ton 4x4 diesel, the Ram or the Silverado? And I said, do you know what my answer was?
Yeah, the Ford 7.3.
No, my answer was, do you need a diesel?
Ah.
So he asked, well, I like diesel. They're nice for towing. And I said, unless you're towing regularly, the new diesels have a lot of problems in daily driving, especially with the short trips. That being said, the Chevy has the nicer drivetrain, the Ram a little nicer interior. But unless you're towing monthly, I would stay away from a new diesel, sadly. And he said, thank you. So then he asked me this, and I haven't answered him yet.
Oh, wait a minute, though. But you didn't talk about the 3 liters,
Well, he's talking about a bigger truck.
Okay.
All right. So he then said, if I were to get something used, and so this is perfect for Miles. If I were to get something used, how far would I need to go back to get what you would consider a good diesel?
Wait, a good diesel or good
Like from a reliable. No.
Oh.
I told him, don't buy a new diesel because you're working the truck enough to clear out your DPF.
Okay.
Consider gas. So he's like, but I really want diesel. How far back would I have to go?
Well, then are you talking pre-DPF, pre-SCR, like all that stuff?
Well, that's the conversation. No, not necessarily. Just how far back? It could have SCR, it could have a DPF. I'm just saying the ones from the last few years, like maybe the last 4 or 5, they're not good with short trips. The older diesels that have the early DPFs,
yes,
and it seem like they're better.
Like the Ram that I have, we're acting as if Miles isn't on the phone.
I know.
Like the Ram that I have that I drove to your house today, that's the 6.7 liter 07,
right?
Never any DPF issues. Never. It's amazing. You don't even know the damn thing's on there.
So the question, Miles, is if there was somebody looking for a diesel heavy-duty truck, where would you point them, new or used, and what year range for something that's going to be reliable? They're not doing a bunch of tuning and stuff to it. They want a reliable truck that will do their daily driver thing. It'll tow a trailer to the river or whatever, or camping or whatever. What is that truck that you would recommend?
Here's maybe a politician type answer.
That's
which
fine. That's fine.
Pre DPF would be my advice. But I think 2007 and a half to like 2010, before they started introducing DEF into a lot of these diesels, not the Ford 6.4 liter, unless you're going to buy it to build it, because that's a great engine to build, not if you plan on just having a great truck without putting money into. But Dodge is good, GM or Chevy is good in that range from like 7.5 to 10. But I think I really think it comes down to an education thing. If they're going to be using it consistently for highway driving, long trips, stuff like that, and they're going to get that exhaust hot enough to burn out, then yeah, 2011 to newer can be a great option. But if you're just using it as a grocery getter and you want to show people off in your neighborhood how cool your truck is, but you're never getting it really hot, you're going to hate the truck.
That we call that diesel inappropriateness here on the Truck Show podcast.
What we tell all of our customers is, if you're going to buy something that's any older than really 2 or 3 years old, get it inspected before you buy it, because there's so many pros and cons. I mean, Dodge is notorious for a great engine, but the suspension and everything else seems to suck on it. And GM seems to be great all around, but that has their flaws. Same with Ford. But we tell our customers, bring it into our shop or take it to whoever you want, get a thorough inspection from a shop, because even though there's pros and cons and this and that, generally with the truck, if you're buying something that somebody else has beat the crap out of and not maintained, even if it's shiny on the outside, you could be walking into somebody else's nightmare, not knowing it, if you don't get a used car or pre-purchase inspection.
Man, you're describing, Miles, a guy that I talked to in outside of Scottsdale, Arizona, one of our customers at work. He bought this bone stock truck, and he thought it was a 17 or 18 Duramax, and it was gorgeous on the outside, really well maintained. And he bought it, and it started having these weird issues, intermittent problems, and he became our customer because he was trying to solve the issues with aftermarket parts, which of course you don't ever want to do, but he didn't know that. He was new to diesel. And this guy, about 4 to 6 months in owning it, someone hit him on Facebook and says, "Oh, you have my old truck. You're screwed, buddy. It is haunted." He's like, "It's haunted." And then the guy started harassing him. He's like, "It's a piece of crap. You need to get rid of it." He's like, "Know what? I'm kind of enjoying watching you having problems with my old truck." The guy became like crazy. It was so weird. He was our customer was sharing screenshots with me. The former owner.
You went single white female on him?
Yeah, the former owner hated the truck so much. Somehow he unloaded it to the dealership. This guy bought it. It had a warranty, but he was constantly having problems with it. It's always in regen. It's all like the pigtail number 4 is going out on this thing, like everybody complains about. Like everything that could go wrong in this truck is going wrong. Holy moly. Like he should have had an inspection. Although I don't know if an inspection would have turned stuff up. Hard to say. Miles, if I go to you with my truck and you're doing an inspection, what should I expect to pay? And what are you looking at?
The best $250 that you've ever spent before buying a truck. And sometimes we have, so typically it's around, depending on the condition of the truck, if it's, they got a bunch of crap and accessories and stuff on it, then we might charge a little bit more. But typically around $250 is what we charge. And what we tell our customers is what they get is a full digital inspection that's bumper to bumper, top to bottom. You get pictures of your brakes, fluids, steering. On a diesel, we check for blow-by. We check for any fault codes or errors in any of the computers on the vehicle. It's a really thorough inspection. We check lights, door handles, interior trim function, blah, blah. Like the list goes on and on. We try and be really thorough because we see it. I don't have how often we do, but way too often, at least once a week might be pushing it, but we see it pretty often where somebody buys a truck, it's beautiful, and then they've owned it for a week or two, and they are now sinking tons of money into it. And a lot of the things, not everything, because we tell people if we had a crystal ball, we would be in a different industry and just making millions upon millions of dollars. But we don't have a crystal ball, but we can be thorough. And most of the time, that tells people one of three things typically. One of those being, buy the truck cash. It's a great deal. There you go. Two is stop, drop, and roll. The thing's a flaming pile of crap.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Run away from it. Yeah, and sometimes that happens, but a lot of times it gives people a third option, and that option is, instead of them just kicking the tires and having their dad look under it and it looks okay and it's been freshly undercoated and hiding all the stuff, the third thing that it gives people is a legitimate independent party report saying, here's what's good, here's what's bad, here's what's borderline and may need some future service, so that they can go back to the dealership or independent seller or whoever it may be and say, hey, here's the legitimate list. It was this much. And they can negotiate, instead of just kicking tires and say, hey, what will you do on the price? They can say, hey, I've got this amount that I'll need to invest into it right away. Are you willing to negotiate? And it's either a yes or no from there. That's the biggest thing. All the trucks, there's pros and cons to them, is really my politician answer. I wish I had something better, but we see so many that there's so many pros and cons to them all. We just tell people, get it inspected, know and educate yourself on what you're getting, what it should be used for, and if you buy something that you haven't properly educated yourself, like if it has a diesel exhaust fluid system and all that emission stuff, you need to know what you're getting into and the potential cost for that if you don't drive the truck properly. So,
good answer.
Double bell.
That was a weird one. Do that again. You got a kind of a strange. I don't like the blue bell.
Two bell. No, you brought the blue bell.
I know, but I don't like it. I think we have to reject that one. Here, do them independently. Oh yeah, the blue one's weird. Yeah, your original bell's much better.
Yeah, it's like
very strange. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
These are actual bells. They're not sound effects.
No.
These are the bells that you find on like the counter of a cheesy
desk.
motel. Yeah.
No, not a
cheesy motel. Yes.
How do I come up with teacher's desk and you come up with cheesy motel?
I spent a lot of time in cheesy motels.
I guess
so. You know what kind of guy I am. Miles Bell of Dave's Auto Center in Centerville, Utah, just north of Salt Lake City. If you're not in the area or you don't have a 5-cylinder Sprinter worth driving down from Alaska to go visit him for, I highly recommend you go to the YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. They're everywhere. And the content it's funny. You will laugh out loud and you will learn something.
And you'll wish his dad was your dad.
Maybe so. Maybe so. He's got 5 kids. He might not notice another.
No, he's got millions of kids.
Right.
Yeah, they all love watching him.
Miles, thank you so much for spending time with us. This has seriously been awesome.
Well, you guys are awesome. I love what you do. Respect you both. So this has been an honor to chat with you.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
I don't know what to say.
Literally the nicest thing I've heard all day. Maybe all month.
We should just sign off now. It's not going to get any better than this.
All right. Well, we got to have you back on. We'd love to have your dad on, and let's keep the conversation going because I feel like we only scratched the surface of all the things we could talk about.
I happen to know, Holman, you don't know this. Later this year, Miles and his dad are going to be out in the LA area.
Well, they should come in studio with us and hang out in the pod
might be
shed.
able to arrange that.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys later this year.
My dad, he would love to be on the podcast. He's pretty hardcore about his bedtime, so.
Well, if you're here,
past 8 o'clock.
No. If you're here, we'll do it we'll do it whenever.
We'll make a special session for you.
That's easy.
He would love to be a part of this. That'd
be great.
All right. Well, and Miles, thank your family for letting you off the hook and talking to us tonight.
I thought you were going to say thank your family for having you.
No, what? That would have been weird.
That's where I thought you were going.
No, for allowing him to spend. Like, dude, it's nighttime where he is.
That's really weird that you would reach back that far.
Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. All right, you're the best, Miles. Thank you.
Have a good one, man. Thank you.
Likewise.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Holman, there's so much email that I'm buried in it. I can't breathe. It's piling up. Holman?
Wow, it's weird. I can't even hear lightning anymore. Oh, there he is. He took the pile of papers from his mouth.
That was ridiculous. Sorry about that. Here we go.
You email? Yeah.
All right, who's going to go first? You want me to go? Or you?
Go.
All right, let's see here. This one's from Peter Conti, New Gas Job GM Trucks. Wow, that's a weird subject line. Hey, Lightning and Holman, my name is Pete. Been listening for a few years now. I don't remember when I started listening, but anyway, I wanted to let you guys know.
By the way, I love that it's a prerequisite of any new emailer to say how long they've been listening. I love it.
It's kind of cool.
It is cool.
It's like Tom Leykis.
It's like,
first
no,
long-time
stop.
listener, first-time caller.
Stop. Everybody's like, well, I got to be legit with these guys. I got to let them know I'm a long time, but I don't remember when. So I find that story suspect, but I'm so glad you included it.
Long-time listener, 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I don't know where I left on. I want to let you guys know that you haven't talked much about the newer 6.6 gas job motors.
Yes, I have.
In GM Trucks, my brother and I run a landscape company, and we now have 3 of the 2020 one-ton dump. Let's see, a 2021 2500, a 2024 2500 with the 10-speed. They tow great and take a beating. There's no punctuation in this email, by the way. Peter, I need a period or a comma somewhere. He says they take a beating. We do a lot of snow plowing and towing, everything for equipment to materials for our jobs. And I also have a 6.2-liter F-250. Dude, guy's got a lot of trucks.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but the GM trucks have a ton of power. Just wanted to see if you guys could do an episode on the 6.6-liter GM gas motors. To get some more info on it, I've also been looking at getting a pedal monster for my 6.2. I would recommend that. That's one of our most popular applications, which I never would have guessed, but I guess for reasons that Holman's talked about, the truck does feel a little mushy because it's now getting up there in miles and towing my 24 enclosed race trailer around the mountain in New Hampshire. It gets a little bit lazy. Looking forward to seeing you guys read this and get more info on it. 5 stars and Finnegan, yeah, buddy.
5-star review! 5 stars!
Yeah, buddy.
Well, we've talked about it. It's not my favorite of the gassers.
It's not crap. It's just not
great.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, 7.3 all the way. I actually like the old GM 8.1 big block. I wish they would bring that back. That was such a freaking awesome
Gas guzzler.
Who cares?
Yeah, I guess
The
you're
big
right.
block gas engine. Whatever.
The 8.1 with a Vortex supercharger, woo,
Dude,
or a
those
Whipple.
Those things were cool. I think they killed that platform too fast. I mean, it's basically a bigger 454 with fuel injection, more modern, all that good stuff. It was a great engine. Doesn't Gale have a Suburban with one of those things in it?
Yeah, green one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. Dude, that's the one. Do you recall where we did a video where we drove up to Mount Wilson? And in order to get the shot of him, it was about the iDash and altitude density. Anyway, long story short, it's a windy road up into the mountains right above Los Angeles. If you've ever been there, guys, on the way to Mount Wilson, which is where all the transmitters are above LA. And so to get the shot of Gale, I'm holding this big camera. I have to sit with my right hip against the dashboard in the passenger seat. So the buckle, it's like I've buckled it so it doesn't ding. I'm not in the buckle at all. And Gale, for those of you that don't know, drives like a bat out of hell. Here we are in an 8.1-liter Suburban, and the goal for this is that Gale has to floor it as part of the video. So he's hammering these hairpin turns in a freaking Suburban, and I am just like swinging all around. And if you see that video, you can see the cameras like in his face, the not in his face. That's me, like trying to hold on for dear life.
All right, got this one from Eric Davis. Says, "What up, donut hole in light beer?"
Not the first person to call us that.
Not my favorite. He says, "I want to thank you guys for your great discussion on diesel inappropriateness. In February, I purchased a new-to-me travel trailer, and while I was within the towing specs of my 2023 Ram 1500 EcoDiesel, I was on the cusp of being over my payload rating, so I decided it would be smart for me to shop for a new truck." That is one of the hardest decisions for somebody to make, to understand they love their truck, and they bought too much trailer, and now they have to decide, what do I do? Ouch. So that was the right decision, Eric. He says, being that my truck spends probably 85% of its life unloaded, I decided a Cummins was not the best option for me and ended up with a 2021 Ram 2500 Mega Cab with a 6.4-liter gas engine. It tows my 9,000-pound trailer with ease and makes the trips comfortable. While I do miss the 28 miles per gallon I got with my EcoDiesel and that plush car-like ride, I've been happy with the 2500, even though it only gets about 14 miles per gallon. That's actually pretty good. Says, thanks for steering me in the right direction and keeping the great episodes and keeping the suckage low. Don't forget, everything matters.
You can hear it sucking.
Thanks for watching, and remember, everything matters.
That's I love when we get that feedback from our listeners where they're like, hey, I took a flyer on something you two idiots said, and it worked out for me. That's how I interpret those.
Now I loves me some RB, some Ray, but I feel like this one may not be good for me. Lightning and Holman, I mean no offense, but if you're looking for
he
listener
started out
feedback,
with I mean no offense?
Yes, yeah. But if you're looking for listener feedback on Lightning's new AI-powered jingles, I'll be brief. Please, no. The original jingles are pure gold, part of what makes TSP so unique. Putting truck-related words into a cookie-cutter sounding genre does nothing for TSP. In fact, in my opinion, it cheapens your TSP brand.
Has he met us?
Especially
He has met us.
AI. Now, hold on a second. Ray, if Holman hadn't said it was AI, and I told you that a friend of mine is in a pop-punk band and wrote
Ray's
a song...
not dumb. Okay. Oh, speaking of pop-punk band,
yeah.
Let me play this.
Should
little ditty
I
for you.
finish this?
Well,
let me just finish this, and you'll get to your song here.
All right.
You're going to do what you're going to do, says Ray. But my feedback is to ditch the AI-generated country crap and go back to the spirit and uniqueness of the original jingles. So, Ray, we never went away from those jingles.
And I don't disagree with that, but I had to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm not done. He says, P.S. The country music-themed outro, Season 2, episode 96, Ken Bruner episode, was way too long. I listened to the end out of respect for your work, but it was not fun. Listen,
Ray, skip ahead.
He said it was not fun, and I won't do that again.
All right, so I'm going to throw something. I tried to do a bunch of songs, and I was playing with the same thing Lightning did. And it's a pain in the butt because you got to pay a bunch of money or you get these credits and stuff, and you can alter the lyrics, but then the AI. Only a certain amount of time during the day gets free. Like once you use your credits, you got to wait
50 credits
24
a day.
hours.
Sure,
which is 5 songs. Sure, or 5 tag us 10 songs. Anyway, but then you got to adjust the lyrics, and it says, "But I think I found gold because I kept getting sucked into this country genre. I found ska."
A truck podcast every week. Lightning comes to speak. Holman tries to keep it clean. Lightning's tails get so obscene. TRX, he's always shouting. Chilling dogs, he's always devouring. Holman wishes he could be. Lightning's absurdity spreads like a disease. Trucking and talking. Oh, lightning's so shocking. Holman keeps on mocking. But lightning keeps on rocking.
Chili stains.
Weekly madness on the mic. Lightning's talking in strike. Every tail more overflow. Chilling dogs feel his joyful tone. TRX is fighting joy. Holman's nerves they do annoy.
Holman's nerves.
Oh, lightning's so shocking. Holman keeps on mocking, but lightning keeps on rocking.
RB is plugging his ears right now.
That's right. He's going to skip ahead.
My hot air blows and blows?
This is the way the truck show turns. Trucking and talking. Oh, lightning so shocking. Holman keeps on mocking, but lightning keeps on rocking.
Oh, look at that.
Come on, that's solid.
You're a musician now, aren't you?
Come on, that's solid. A little horn and a little punk, little ska.
Like that, yeah. All right, well, there you go. Trucking and talking there from...
that was a world debut right there.
Yeah.
Lightning's hot air. It blows and blows. TRX talk be no more. Stolen by Holman to even the score. I mean, that's great stuff.
Well done. You're a songwriter.
Great stuff.
All right. Next one, if you're still listening at this point, we got some more.
Come on. That was awesome.
I mean, sure.
Was that every bit as good as some of your other ones?
I don't think it was as good as mine.
I think it was great.
All right. Hey, Lightning, have you heard about no Tundra trade-ins?
Oh, yeah. Did you see that deal?
Well, he says, hey, Lightning, have you heard? No. Man, Toyota needs to devote a full measure to kill this problem, and each week it seems to take on new life.
So what he's
to
talking
be fair,
about,
he says this is the dealer issue and not Toyota. But to the consumer, it's all wrapped up in the same stinky package.
So what he's talking about is people at dealers are not accepting trade-ins on those trucks right now across the country because they're worried about the engines blowing up from that recall. So all these people are like, I want out of my truck. It's like, no, we're not taking those.
That's
sucks.
crazy.
Yeah.
What? Can't Toyota Corp force them to take trade-ins?
Not if you're a Ford dealer. Not if you're a Ram dealer.
Duh. I'm thinking Toyota dealers.
no.
Holy mackerel. So you want to trade out to an F-150 and no dice. So this is the engine shavings that you talked about?
I guess. I mean, that's what's going on right now. Is the Toyota said, hey, we found an issue with some engine shavings and we got problems. So I don't know where they're at with it. I'm sure more will come out, but that's crazy if you want to divest yourself of that truck. Woo, buddy.
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
All right, I got one here from Eric Zimmer. Says, Lightning.
What up?
He says, good afternoon, gents. Several episodes ago, Lightning mentioned he was going to a truck and tractor pull. I'd love to hear what his thoughts were about it, as truck and tractor pulling is a big thing in Ohio. I knew they had pulls in California, but honestly, didn't ever think I'd hear about Lightning attending one. Side note, the drop, "This place blows," makes me laugh every time. Thanks, Eric.
This place blows.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah. You're going to laugh, but I've been to like 3 or 4 truck and tractor pulls. Now, the one that I was speaking to last time was going to be up in Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I did not make it to that. Well, that's not true. It was sold out. I couldn't get in. I will be going up into Sacramento for an event in later this year. It's like August or September, something like that. So I enjoy them. It's not normally my cup of tea, but just like I would go to I'm not a country music fan, but I'd go to a country show because it's fun. Same deal. This is Trevor sliding in your DM, he says.
Again?
Yeah. Hey, Lightning, I've had this gift card for Banks since my birthday back in April. I'd like to get a pedal monster for my 21 F250 6.7 liter, so please send nudes. I mean, please hook a brother up. Thanks, Trevor. And so I've actually, this is an old email because I've already hooked Trevor up.
Oh, good. So he can stop emailing us time and time again?
I'm going to go into the future or the past and hook him up. I don't know when that is.
Whenever it is, Trevor, find new topics.
He's hooked up.
All right, got this one here from Michael Hall says, Pepsi all day. Lightning Holman, Pepsi all day, every day. No, that's wrong. You're wrong.
No,
it's not. He says,
you're not wrong. You just maybe less than right.
He continues by saying, my father was also a Pepsi drinker, and I guess that's why I am. I cannot stand the taste of Coke, although I do not drink carbonated drinks anymore due to weight surgery, and also I'm an outlier because I'm a 3-liter Duramax owner. Actually, we have 3 of them in the family. Mine, my wife, and my 22-year-old son just bought one and love them. Wish they had more aftermarket support. Cough, cough, Banks Power. And so anyway.
Not going to happen on the Derringer for that. I think it's pretty much shelved, as is the intake and all the other stuff. Now,
why is
you can get a pedal.
That because the engineering that went into it?
No.
Not enough demand?
No, there's demand.
Okay, so
we don't have enough engineers.
No.
The reality is we just...
It's on pause then.
It's nope. I've
never happened.
So what happened is when the LM2 was first released, which is the original 3-liter Duramax, we thought we were going to release the tuner. We started working on it. So here's me on the LM2 groups. Guys, it's coming. A year, 2 years go by. I think it's coming, guys. Pretty sure we're still working on it. Then like year 3, I don't feel like it's happening. And I finally pushed the engineers to admit that they just haven't made enough progress on it. Or now we're in the LZ0. So the thing is that in order to make this kind of behind the scenes a little bit, with like the big 6.6 liter Duramax, we can modify fuel and boost and make pretty sizable power, up to like 81 horsepower. Problem is with the little 3 liter, you can't just intercept fuel and boost. You have to intercept crank position sensor, pulse width, and all these other things. And Holman, to intercept some of the sensors, you got to remove wheels and panels and like an exhaust manifold, and it's totally unwieldy and not doable. So at this point, I don't think that it's coming out. That's the reality. It's just we can't ask our customers to jump through hoops to install this thing. So that's the jam. Sorry. No dice.
All right. Well, that's depressing.
And to pick up the mood a little bit, RB sends us another one, and it's called Soda Rating, where apparently he's ranked sodas for us.
All right.
What do you think? It's 4. I'm going to start it with the 4 and then work to number 1. So number 4 is, what do you guess? That's right, Mountain Dew.
All right, perfect.
Number 3, Coke. Number 2, Cherry Coke. Number 1,
Dr. Pepper.
That's correct, Dr. Pepper.
Oh, he's allowed to still be a fan of the Treasure Podcast.
He's one of us.
All right, so I would tell you that my number 1, clearly Dr. Pepper.
Yep.
My number 2 might surprise you, unless you live in Southern California.
I don't know. What is it?
Mexican Coke in a glass bottle.
Oh, interesting.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
That's not all that uncommon, though. I love Mexican Coke.
No, but in other parts of the country, it might not be. Anywhere in LA where you go into a taco shop, you have Mexican Coke, which is made on the other side of the border with pure cane sugar, and it's awesome.
Yeah, is that cocaine sugar?
Pure cane?
Oh, pure cane.
Pure cane.
Oh, sorry.
Pure. No, it's just the best kind of Coke there is. All right. Hey, we love hearing from you. Thanks for following us here at the Truck Show Podcast. Send us a note, will ya? truckshowpodcast@gmail.com, Holman at truckshowpodcast.com, or lightning at truckshowpodcast.com. Hit us up on the socials, Truck Shop. Whoa.
What happened?
Truck Shop.
What happened to you there?
At Truck Show Podcast, at LBC Lightning, at Sean P. Holman. And of course, we're waiting for some more messages. We like to hear your voice. Put you on the air, 657-205-6105. That is the 5-star hotline.
I know. You guys have opinions. Come on now.
We did a lot of stuff in this episode that's kind of opinionated. Like, where are you guys? You can't all agree with us.
657-205-6105. As you're hearing my voice right now, stop. Just hit pause. You don't need the rest of the show. You know what's going to happen. We're going to do some. We're going to thank Nissan, and then we're going to play the jingle, and then I'm going to hide something like an Easter egg at the end of the show. You don't need to hear that. What you need to do right now is pause.
Go to reviews and leave us a review.
Well, that too. But I don't want to give him too many. No, hold on. I don't want to give him too many tasks. The only task I'm
they
assigning
have multiple
class.
tasks to do whichever one they want.
Class, listen to me. Before the bell, this is the last assignment. Okay, listen. 657-205-6105. 657-205-6105. Leave us a message.
What is that? A teacher voice?
Yes, yelling just right before the bell rings. You know what I'm saying? And then everyone races out.
All right. Well, leave us a review. Send us a know your note. Or visit our website, truckshowpodcast.com, where you can check out our events page.
Yeah, what are you doing with that box over there? You're going to leave a message for anyone that's intruding my property?
I'm trying to figure out how to do it because...
Sure, first you turn it on, and they do a long press, and it beeps twice, and then you record it, and then you let go, I think. Ow.
Ow?
Yep. Nope, not that one. Now, Jesus Christ, that's loud. No, it's not that button. You're pushing the wrong button. Stop that.
Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. You in the hoodie. Does your mom know you're out in the neighborhood at night trying to steal people's cars? Well, guess what? I know your mom, and I'm about to call her, you little bastard.
Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. You in the hoodie. Does your mom know you're out in the neighborhood at night trying to steal people's cars? Well, guess what? I know your mom, and I'm about to call her, you little bastard!
That'll work.
You think?
Yeah, I do.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors.
This place blows.